it change and let's,
Okay.
I'm gonna double check it's in the right month. Because I did it, I got on here 5 minutes ago and then it said September and I'm like, oh boy, that's not right.
Yeah.
Just let me know
Yes,
when and
we're good. We're good.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the monthly meeting. The Solano County Democratic Central Committee. I am looking, I don't see any guests except for our speakers. So we will forego introduction of guests for the moment. The land acknowledgement available that we can display.
Yes. Share my screen.
Right. We pause to acknowledge that the Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present. Right. I do not believe we have anyone who needs to be sworn in tonight. We do have a quorum. So does anyone have any corrections, additions, or deletions to the September minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
This is Gian. I second.
Right, motion and a second. Go ahead and watch that poll, please.
Hey, Seth, I need to vote. Oh, sorry, guys. Can you just vote for me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can't get the mouse to work. I forgot that I was unplugged. Sorry.
And mute her while you're at it, Seth.
I'm going with yay
Yes. And we have to,
and submit.
okay. And I promise I'll be quiet.
I will break that promise.
And with
Hi,
that,
Seth.
everyone has voted. If you haven't already voted, please do so. And then once we reached our critical mass yet on that, Amber? All right. Passes unanimously. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to tonight's agenda? Other than, I do believe, in all likelihood, Josh Newman will not be joining us this evening. He had a scheduling conflict. He was hoping to be done, but as of earlier this evening, he said he likely would not be available to meet with us as well as his other event. So that, Bonnie, your hands up.
Yes, hi, good evening. I I don't know if this needs to go on the agenda or could be in announcements, but I wanted an opportunity to talk about our yes on Prop 50 signs and what an update on them.
Well, we have the Yes on 50 update on the agenda already,
Okay,
so it would be appropriate to bring up at that time.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, any other additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
I move to approve the agenda.
This is Gianna, I second.
That makes it easy for me.
Yes, it does.
Looks like that has passed as well. So we will, with that, we will move on to our guest speakers. My understanding is that Josh Friday will be joining us in about 5 minutes. So even though he was first on the agenda, we will move on to our next speaker, Assemblyman Suchi, who, if memory serves me, was first in the Assembly in 2012 to 2014, lapped with my former boss, Mariko Yamada. So we have memories, and he is running, if I have my notes correctly, for Superintendent of Public Instruction. So with that, let me, before I tell you to begin, let me make sure I have my timer up. Okay. We'll stop. All right. You have 3 minutes and remarks, followed by up to 5 minutes for questions from the members. I will start the timer when you begin speaking. So take it away, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Don, and good evening, Solano County Democrats. My name is Al Murthucci. You can just call me Al, and I'm running to be your next state superintendent of public instruction. I come with a strong record of fighting for public education. I've been fighting for public education for decades. First of all, I teach government at my local community college, El Camino College in Torrance, California. And I'm a proud member of the American Federation of Teachers, Local 1388. I'm a former Torrance School Board president, where I served on my school board for 7 years. I'm a public school parent, and now California Assembly member for the last 11 years, where I've been chairing the Assembly Education Committee for more than 3 years. I also bring my life experiences as the son of immigrants, product of public schools, and a first-generation college graduate. I know that public education is still the best ticket to achieve the American dream. Unfortunately, we all know now that public education is under attack. We need a state superintendent with a proven record of not only fighting for our schools and our students, but also getting things done. This year, I was proud to get the California Safe Haven Schools Act, my Assembly Bill 49, to keep ICE out of our schools to protect our immigrant students. I'm also fighting for our teachers and our school staff. I introduced the Fair Pay for Educators Act, a bill sponsored by the California Federation of Teachers, California Teachers Association, and the California School Employees Association, to fully fund our schools and to give teachers and staff a 50% pay raise over the next 10 years. last year, I got the California Freedom to Read Act signed into law to fight censorship and book banning. And last year, my biggest win, I wrote Proposition, I was the lead author of Proposition 2, the $10 billion statewide school bond measure that California voters passed to fix and upgrade our schools. As your next state superintendent, my vision is clear. Good public schools in every neighborhood, fully fund our schools, and prepare our kids for jobs of the 21st century, whether they're going to college or whether to teach them, by teaching them the trades. I'm proud to have a 100% voting record with the California Labor Federation, Planned Parenthood, Equality California, and the Enviro Voters. And this year I was named the California Federation of Teachers Legislator of the Year. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Don, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. As always, please put your questions in the chat to be asked.
Oh, okay.
I will start with the first question. We have seen with the big ugly bill cuts in many areas, including federal support for education. What would you propose to mitigate the impacts to students and teachers of those cuts from federal funding?
Yeah, so we all know that Donald Trump has been not only attacking our most vulnerable students, but he's been in the process of dismantling the United States Department of Education. One of the main functions of the Department of Education at the federal level is to enforce and investigate violations of laws like the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, as well as administering and allocating the funding for Title I funds for our low-income kids, administering the Head Start program, and on so many different levels. We know that public education is under attack. Number one, I was just talking about this in my government class at my at El Camino College today, but we don't have the checks and balances with the Republicans controlling Congress, and so the only direct check that we have on Donald Trump's attacks on public education is by continuing to resort to the courts. I know that we've had some trial court victories, like say with at the higher education level, getting some of the federal research grant cuts for UCLA and our other universities, to be halted, while the courts continue to be our best ally so far in terms of our fight against Trump. California needs to step up as the world's fourth largest economy. Federal funding accounts for about 8% of our state's statewide TK through 12 spending, and that's that we're talking about billions of dollars, and with a tight budget year, another tight budget year expected next year, it's going to be tough. But we need to continue to fight to protect all of our kids, especially including our most vulnerable kids, whether it's our immigrant students or LGBTQ students, and continue to fight to defend not only our students, but our California values.
Okay. Next question I have is due to, for a number of reasons, many Americans give the impression that they no longer understand the Constitution or possess critical thinking skills and are therefore vulnerable to being manipulated by unscrupulous politicians and media types. What would you do to address this?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people are, they're asking me if we still teach civics in our high schools, and absolutely, it's still as part of, our requirement, graduation requirement to take a government course. But still, yeah, when we see all these polls, surveys of Americans and the dismal understanding, not just of our Constitution, but of a lot of the basic lessons of civics. We need to continue to do a better job of educating all of our kids, all Americans, on civics. I'm doing that, as a adjunct professor at my local community college, teaching American government and politics. That's definitely something that I want to continue to emphasize and prioritize, so that, especially in these times when there's all this misinformation coming out through social media, that we not only teach the basics of civics, but also we need to teach our students, our kids, to be more critical of all of the information and often misinformation that they're getting from social media. I have a teenage daughter in high school now, and they're learning a lot about how to be more critical in terms of the sources of the information, about all the misinformation out on social media. But unfortunately, given that the world is becoming more complicated, we need to make our young people more sophisticated in terms of their understanding of how social media works. How those algorithms work. To send too many people down these rabbit holes and further exacerbating the polarization of politics in America. Um, I think those are the things that I'd focus on: civics education and increased digital literacy.
Okay, unfortunately, looks like our 5 minutes is up, but I know there's a number of other questions in chat, sir. So if it's all right with you, we will go ahead and email these to you and ask you to respond as your time permits, and so we can share your answers with our members.
Okay.
So, all right. See if our next speaker is with us yet.
Oh, sorry. I think I just dropped out. I just want to say,
Mr. Kramer, is Josh with you, or?
I just want to say thank you very much and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Justin with Josh's team. He should be joining any second right now.
Okay. Well, while we are waiting for him, I will move on to public comment. It's for our guests. Each guest is given up to 2 minutes to speak. Time may not be extended, and this comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes in total. Although, of course, when Mr. Friday arrives, we'll be going back to him. Do any of our guests, do any guests wish to speak? If so, please raise your hand. We're not seeing any hands up.
I think Justin is our only guest.
Yeah, so we are waiting for Josh Friday, who's candidate for lieutenant governor. So while we're waiting for him to sign on, let's move on to our treasurer's report.
Okay. Let me get back to all right. The treasurer report for October. We'll start with our federal account with the beginning balance of $60.98. We have total, no credits for the, for federal account this month because most of the activity regarding our treasury has been consolidated to the Prop 50 signs and the highway signs, and those are all state events, so they'll come up in our state account. In our debits, we have $100, and that was actually a return. That's going to a return because we initially had the contribution in the federal account and had to move it to the state account. Then River City Business Services, $607.96. It's a monthly charge for our accounting services. And with a total debt of $707.96, with the federal ending balance of $11,353.02. Then moving on to our state account, the credits, there are 33 people. I'm not going to name all of them. You can see for yourself, I think, if you guys got a copy of it. And most of these are for our Prop 50 signs, which were $10, and then contributions to our Prop 50 highway signs, which people made nice contributions. So when we go forward to that, our total credits were $1,228. And we take a look now at our debits or expenses. Act Blue merchant fees were $48.61. We bought the Prop 50 yard signs from AABCO Print. I believe they are in Contra Costa, $615.70. And then Jay's Quality Print, where the highway signs came from in Sacramento, $1,370.25, with our total expenses at $2,034.56, with a state ending balance of $804.97. And when we add both of the total and state accounts, we have $13,157.99. So that's about close to $1,000, I think, give or so, from September. And then I think if anyone has to send any checks that they want to send to contribute to the to defray the costs of our highway signs, they can send them to me, or they can send them to the River City. If you do send them to River City, then just please copy me on it. And that's it for our treasurer's report.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? See.
I don't see anything.
Is Don frozen?
I think he's frozen. Did anybody have any questions for the treasurer's report? By the way, the post office box is Post Office Box 428, Rio Vista, California, 94571, just in case you want to send something through.
I didn't have any questions, Karen, but thanks for doing it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah.
Karen, what was the PO box again? 428?
Yes, 428 Rio Vista, 94571 is the zip code. So I'm thinking maybe Don had to,
I think he logged out to.
yeah, I think he had to
maybe
log out.
Log back
to log
in.
back. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. I had to do the same thing, so.
Yeah, my internet's been unstable too.
While he's doing that, do we want to wait for him or go ahead? I think it looks like, is it Josh? Oh,
Candidate
he's
is
back.
here.
He's back. Okay.
He's back.
Yeah. If you would,
Oh, it's back.
I'm beginning to think AT&T is Republican because it only crashes during Central Committee meetings. So right now I'm on my phone, so if someone else can set a timer for Mr. Friday. You'll have 3 minutes for your opening remarks. And we'll ask that the timer begin when you begin speaking.
Who's timing?
I'll
time it.
Whoever will volunteer.
I'll time it.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Friday, again, as I was trying to say, founding member of One Republic. So take it away, and we'll begin timing when you begin speaking.
Yeah, that's not me. I wish I was a founding member of One Republic, but I'm honored to be here as a candidate for lieutenant governor and also as a neighbor of yours. I live in Yolo County, so I'm excited to all be in person soon when we can be together. But I'll just jump into it because I know our time is short, and I appreciate the ability to be together. But listen, we are living through one hell of a time right now, and I think we need a new generation of leaders who have the courage both to stand up to what the hell's happening in our country right now, who have a track record of doing it, which I've done my entire life, not just as a veteran in the military when I stood up for the rule of law in Guantanamo as an officer in the Navy, but also when I stood up to the Keystone Pipeline, when I ran Next Gen Climate, when I stood up when I was mayor of my hometown and went to the border to protest the family separations in the first Trump administration. So we need leaders who are willing to stand up, who have the courage to do it. And I think especially now with what we're seeing with the illegal and I think appalling use of the military on our domestic soil, the fact that I'm the only Democrat running as a veteran in the state of California, I think matters, because I think we need real credibility on this issue. And I also think Democrats, and this is important, we have to deliver for people. I think we have to face the reality that most Californians no longer believe what my parents believed, which was that even though they didn't have college degrees, they could work really hard and they could send their kids to great public schools like kindergarten through law school, which is what I got to do, and that you'd have a better life and that you might have a shot at going back to the community you grew up in and maybe buying a home one day. People don't believe that. So we have to focus on building. We need to build homes. We need to build millions of homes. And I have a plan to build 1 million homes on underutilized public lots around our universities, around our school districts. We need to build clean energy. We need to double the amount of clean energy we have in the state. And I don't think we can be the party anymore that says climate change is an existential crisis, which I think it is, and then let it take years to build solar projects. So we have to think about how do we build faster with urgency. And finally, and I'll end on this, and I look forward to a conversation, we have to build more connected communities and figure out how do we bring people together again to actually solve problems, which is why I'm running to scale the programs that I've built as a cabinet member in the Newsom administration right now, where we've built a service corps that's now larger than the entire Peace Corps. And it's why I'm running on creating universal service in California. So every young person has the chance to be part of something, to contribute, to give back, and to launch their career. So I'm very, very passionate about these issues. Obviously, I'm very passionate about working with you all, and I'd love to answer any questions you have or hear your ideas. And I'm excited to roll our sleeves up and protect our country and our state. Thank you.
Great time.
All right. Thank you. Again, please drop your questions into chat. We will have 5 minutes for questions. The first question I have for you is, traditionally, the Lieutenant Governor's office is one that's has a small staff and primarily relies on the bully pulpit. So how would you use your bully pulpit to be effective in advocating for the causes that you mentioned?
Yeah, I love that question because I just think it's so much more than the bully pulpit, and we have to make it more. I mean, our challenges are so big in this state right now. We're not, we're the 4th biggest economy, and yet we have the worst housing crisis in the country. That's shameful. My wife's a public school teacher. The salary that she makes, even though she has a degree from Berkeley and a master's from Stanford, would classify her as low income in most counties throughout California because of the cost of housing. So we have these massive challenges, and it's why I've focused on what the lieutenant governor can do to build homes, for instance, for our workforce, for our teachers, for our classified employees, for our community members on our underutilized public lots, because the lieutenant governor is the only person who sits on all three boards of higher education. That's the UC Regents, CSU trustees, and the Community College Board of Governors. Also sits on the State Lands Commission and the Coastal Commission. So it has real influence in places where we can be creative, and we have to be creative if we're going to solve these big challenges.
Next question. Can you tell us more about what your universal service program would be about?
Yeah, I love that question. So I created, since the governor got elected, he created this cabinet position for service and community engagement. That's the position I have as Chief Service Officer for the state of California. And really, it's looking at how do we bring people together and give people the kind of experiences I had in the military, where you get to work with people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, and you get to actually solve problems together. And the reality is we have a whole lost generation of young people right now who are looking at a world where they can't afford to buy a home, where their jobs may be gone because of AI, or at least that's what they're being told, where the planet's on fire. And we have to figure out a way to connect people again in our communities and give them purpose and meaning. So I've created these programs like College Corps, where we're now creating literally debt-free pathways for thousands of California students by serving in their community. So the way it works is if you commit to 450 hours of service, you get $10,000 towards your education, which is the amount a Pell Grant student or a low-income student has to either take out loans or has to work. So when I was a Pell Grant student in California, I worked and cleaned golf carts at a local golf course. Now we have thousands of young people who are tutoring and mentoring. They're working in our food banks. They're taking climate action, and we can scale this program. We created the first Climate Corps in the country, which you should all be very proud of. We did that in California. It's the program I created. It's now spread to 12 other states. So thinking about how do we scale these programs, I think by building it into our education system. So every young person is given the chance in high school. And if you do it in high school, and I'm already working with our community college chancellor right now on this across the state, if you serve in high school, you actually get college credit towards a certificate program, a vocational school, or to a university when you graduate. We can create real economic value by giving young people the chance to serve in a way that also gives them meaning and purpose. So I put out a plan to create universal service. Happy to share it, happy to talk to anyone about it. But I think it's one of these examples of how we actually deliver for people. We make California more affordable, and we create new ideas that are inspiring for people and bring people together.
What needs to be done to effectively support economic development between the state and local communities while ensuring underrepresented demographics have access to build generational wealth?
Well, part of it is making sure that people have access to higher education. Maybe I'll just focus, Don, with what I think the lieutenant governor can really have a huge focus on. I mean, for me, my parents, as I said, didn't have college degrees. I was a low-income student, and the chance to go to college changed everything for me and my family. And so, question is, how do we create access for more people, more at the same time? And this is what I want to focus on as lieutenant governor. At the same time, recognize that most people don't go to college. So how do we create real job opportunities of dignity? My dad worked in construction my whole life. He would take me to his jobs every single weekend to hang sheetrock and would say, this is your motivation to study. But how do we create job and pathways of dignity from people that aren't going to go to college is a huge focus and passion of mine. It's why I think creating these pathways where we engage young people in high school, we give them a pathway to a certificate at vocational school, is how we start to create opportunity for everyone in the state of California.
Okay. I know we went a little over with our last speaker, so I'll ask you one more question. How would you work on reducing the demand side of fossil fuel use?
Yeah. So I'm so glad you asked that question. So one of the things when I came back from the Navy, I helped build and run an organization called Next Gen Climate that was founded by Tom Steyer. And one of the things we led, as I mentioned earlier, was fighting the Keystone Pipeline. I helped lead that effort. And so one is we have to invest in the right technology that's clean energy. I think we need to be doubling the amount of clean energy we have in California. And so that we can just produce the energy that we need to meet our climate goals, to also remain competitive in our economy, and to reduce the cost of our energy. And so it's why I think the lieutenant governor position is more than a bully pulpit, because it sits on the State Lands Commission, the Coastal Commission, and the Ocean Protection Council, has a really important voice and role in the environment. And so if we can double our clean energy, I think then we make it more available. And by the way, it's already cheaper. The question is, we just need more of it, and we need to give people more access to it, which I'm happy to talk about in more detail when we all have more time together.
Thank you. Obviously, there are other questions in chat. You're free to either answer them in chat, or we can email them and have you send them back to our members. So
maybe I'll
thank
ask.
you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Don. Can I maybe drop my website or email into the chat so that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll do that. So I would love if anyone wants to reach out to me with questions or ideas, I would love to hear them. And again, I'm your neighbor, just one county over. So if there's any questions or anytime we can get together and I'll be together in person, I would love that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. And I appreciate that. Moving on to our officers' reports. I can say for me, it has primarily been, as from I'm sure, dealing with different aspects of Prop 50 over the last month, on either training sessions or party, or working with local people on precinct walks and phoning and all that. And I know that you're all involved in that as well. So the only other thing I'll report is heading out this weekend to the state e-board meeting in Monterey. The main issues will be adding spots for the California High School Democrats into their delegation, and then discussing other procedures for getting ready for 2026. It'll be a brief meeting, but in their infinite wisdom, the gods decided it would be in person. So with that, I know that our Northern Vice Chair is out because of family issues, regrettably. Looking, I do not see our Southern Vice Chair at the moment. So Secretary, do you have anything to report other than the minutes from earlier?
No, I've also been busy working on Prop 50, and we have our last canvas in Benicia this Saturday, if anybody's interested. I think that's it.
Okay. Information Resource Officer, anything to report this month?
Not this
Okay. Parliamentarian.
No. We'll hit the bylaw revision or review in 2026
Okay.
after the election.
Moving right along, then committee reports. Communications Committee. Do you have a report for this month?
Yeah, really short. We're also on hiatus while people are working on Prop 50, but we'll be meeting in small groups after that, and then in the new year, gearing up again for the elections.
Okay, thank you. Legislation Committee. Bonnie, did you have anything to report this month?
I apologize. I was looking on another page at the agenda while everyone was speaking, but heard everything said. I just want to let folks know that I am preparing an end of the legislative session summary, and I will get that to you when I can, but via email. Thanks.
Okay. Next item I had on our agenda was the fundraising committee. And there were two events being planned. First being the December meeting, our holiday party. Does anyone on the call this evening know any further details about that event? Not seeing a rush to put hands up. So I think we will share that information as it when it becomes available. We discussed earlier too that it would be an event that would be a bit of a fundraiser this year to help us replenish our coffers in early December, but details are to be determined. Kathy, I saw your hand up momentarily.
Oh, no, I realized I was going to ask something that I've already asked.
Okay. All right, and then the crab feed / awards dinner. As the fundraising committee, did you have the opportunity to come to any decisions? I know we've looked at 2 venues, one being the Ulatis Center in Vacaville, the other one being Dan Foley Park in Vallejo, given that the Nelson Center is booked. Do we have
I can give
any
you some
updates there? Paula?
I can give you some info about Dan Foley. I don't think it's going to work. I mean, I couldn't get even a ballpark price from them, but she started adding up things like $210 an hour, plus the kitchen, plus the refreshment center. I don't see that working. So I'm quite hopeful that Ulantis is going to pan out for us. Plus, there was only the one date, which was February 21, which is also, I think, your Northern Club prom?
That's the weekend of the state convention, so.
Oh, it's a convention, right. I knew there was something with the 21st. So I'd say Dan Foley is out, so fingers crossed for Ulantis.
Okay, and then as of Monday, Ulatis had still a limited selection of dates. 2 Saturdays in January, the 14th in February, 2 dates in then the 14th and the 28th in March, but both of those were only available after 4 o'clock because there was a daytime event scheduled. So they would have to reset the event, reset the space for an evening event if we wanted those dates. And that information was emailed out to the fundraising committee Monday, and the tentative, well, the suggestion made was to go with February 14th, even though it is Valentine's Day, to schedule our crab feed, assuming it's still available. So with that said, what do people think? Don't all talk at once.
Hey there, Don.
Glenn.
Just quick question. Can you restate just to make sure I'm having the information right about the proposed date and location?
Based on availability, the proposed date is February 14th at the Ulatis Center in Vacaville. And for those of you who in previous years have gone to either an APAPA event or a Garamendi fundraiser or other events, there it is more than capable of hosting an event the size of the crab feed, but that's what we could find. Kathy, you're up first in my line of hands.
Oh, I just was going to say that I think, could be sort of a Valentine's Day themed thing. Bring your date for a great crab dinner or something like that. So that's all.
Jeanette.
I was just curious because she just said it was relatively expensive compared to the Nelson Center. So I wanted to know, did you get the price on that or not? And I have gone to a Garamendi crab feed there before, so I think it can accommodate it. The other thing is, I was wondering about our numbers because the Veterans Hall in Sassoon City also is trying to get people to go there, but I didn't know, I don't think it probably is enough. Are we looking at like over 200 again? So those are my two questions. And sorry, I didn't send that to for Neil.
That, I think my understanding is that we are aiming for the same numbers as in typically 250 to 300 as our goal for the crab feed. And so that's where we're at. Gian?
Yeah, I was initially opposed to the 14th, but as I thought about it, I think that would be a great date because it's difficult to get into certain venues. And also it would be for a good cause. But I think we should make sure we get that information out early because a lot of people make reservations for that date. But I think February the 14th would be a great date.
And Kathy again?
Just do people feel that that it's not going to be too far for a lot of people to drive? I know Sassoon is sort of nice right in the middle, but Foxville's up at the far northern end. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
I see Bonnie's hand next.
I mean, I would say that yes, it is, but it's not, outside of Vacaville. And it is straight on Highway 80. And I think it's a lovely idea to have a Valentine's Day theme. For even if folks come by themselves, we need to be inclusive about that. But I think it's a really nice idea. And I think the Ulata setting is great as well.
Okay, Paula?
Yeah, I've never been to Ulatis to my knowledge anyway, but and I think, Vacaville's a hike from Vallejo, but so be it. And I think Valentine's Day is fine. It's pretty much the only option we have right now. That being said, we should also reserve, if we want to do the Nelson Center again, we should be reserving that now for 27.
Absolutely.
My 2 cents.
Karen.
My 2 cents.
Karen?
I was going to say that I have not been to Ulata Center. I have seen it from the street. And I think that so far as it being a drive, everything's a drive from Rio, so it's not a problem. The only thing I would be just a little bit concerned about as treasurer would be the cost. That's all.
Well, I'm looking at what we are looking at, assuming we go for the larger space, which can have 336 people dining. The cost is $252 an hour. The kitchen would be $105 for the first 4 hours, $37 for each additional hour. So if we're thinking 4 hours, that's $1,100. Roughly. And then, $43.
I think you need more than 4 hours though, right? Because you've got to set up.
So if we add another hour, we get in at 4, so that's again 250, another 250 if we get in at 3. So it could be $1,600, more like $1,700 when all is said and done. Looks like, which is more than we've paid historically at the Nelson Center, but it's less than the figures I recall seeing from Dan Foley.
Okay.
And that's assuming a resident is the one booking the space for Ulatis. Jeanette.
I just wanted to say, people said they hadn't been there. It's not very inspired. It's just like a big space with, walls that can open up. So it's very clean and it's bright, but it's just like just kind of your regular plain old place. It doesn't have all this look of the Nelson Center, but it's certainly serviceable. And it usually has round tables that do about 8.
Mhm.
And I'm out of town then until, so I won't be helping. I'm from January 31st to February 7th.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Michael,
Yeah, sorry to throw this wrench in there, but so one, I want to double check the cost of that for some other events to run out the entire wing. It's like usually in the several thousand. There's all these other things that get added on to that, including like required security. So my point to that is like from other events that I've had constituents come back and ask what the heck is going on. It's been a challenge. Does it have to? So moving on from that, does it have to be a crab feed? And could we explore something a little bit different? Um, we had for my college, the students actually brought out a pizza cooking trailer, like a oven trailer. And it was pretty cool. Maybe it could be something that's more interactive, where people make their own personal toppings or whatnot, and still have some fun and be interactive, and or I don't know, maybe some type of Iron Chef type of situation, grilling. I don't know. Just trying to think if the issue is a location, access to a location that's cost effective, and in a timely, having an ideal time of the year. Does it have to be a crap feed?
well, I will simply say that the feedback we have gotten in the last few years is that people wanted us to return to having a crab feed. So that one of the reasons we have been focused to locate during the crab feed season.
So main thing,
the desire was expressed for a crab feed.
Here's a cheap location.
I know I'm one of many who do not eat crab, but your point is taken. Although many locations we've looked at, the security and other costs are over and above what the list price of the rental is. So we have to be cognizant of that. Karen.
The other thing is that it's been extremely lucrative. The crab feeds are very lucrative. We know that we're going to get a subset of folks, and whereas some of the other possibilities, although would be nice, but we're not really sure. It doesn't affirm a sellout or the kind of money that we make with the crab feed. That's the other consideration.
All right. With that said, does anyone have any other thoughts or comments they wish to make? And if not, does anyone wish to make a motion to approve a budget for us, at least to rent the space and get the deposit in before we lose it?
How much is the deposit, Don?
Well, you're asking just as I pivoted away from
Sorry.
the form. Give me 1 second to see if the deposit, 50% deposit of the total estimated amount is required. So if we are looking at getting a resident to fill it out, and even if we plus up to say 1750, we're looking at 875 for deposit. Based on the available form from the city. But I would suggest we approve the full amount so that we encumber it ahead of time. Which, again, we assume 6 hours. My math comes to 1691. I would say 1750 probably would be a good figure. Or if you want to bump it a little beyond that, to ensure that we can have encumbered the amount necessary for the space itself. Paula.
Okay, well, I move that we go ahead with the Atlantis Center on February 14th. If we want a cap on it, put the cap at $2,000 to rent the center.
Okay.
I second that.
Who was that,
Alright.
Karen?
Gian.
Yeah.
We're the only ones making motions tonight, apparently.
Makes it easy
Alright.
for me.
I keep waiting, but no one jumps in and I just get,
I was trying to wait too, but you know what the heck? I haven't eaten dinner yet, so.
You guys are
Exactly.
fast and we're a step away from the computer now.
Are we voting?
All good.
yeah.
And appropriate how much?
Up to
1,700?
2,000?
The cap was 2,000
Okay.
suggested.
Yeah.
One of the senior center, hold on, let me see if I have that information. Let's see a question chat about the senior center. The maximum capacity listed for the senior center is 200.
Not enough.
So that's not big enough. And
Mhm.
being at the senior center is a bit dicey. Because Vacaville has a vibrant downtown and many people choose that parking place to park.
Yeah.
To do their exploring. So
I tried to check on the clock tower, which actually in Benicia, which could be a little cheaper, but they've never called back about availability. So I'm assuming maybe they aren't.
okay. Any questions? Again, February 14th is the date being proposed. So looking, last call for questions or discussion.
No, you answered the question for me. Thank you.
And I think we've vamped enough. Hopefully Amber has the poll ready. So please vote.
Now the motion that we voted on didn't include the Ulantis Center on February 14th, but I think that's included in the motion, isn't it?
Well, that was stated in the motion. It's just not
Yeah.
showing here.
Okay.
But that said, does anyone wish to provide a fallback date? Which again, you were looking at the January 10th, January 17th, March 14th, and March 28th in the event that it has been booked in the last 48 hours.
Isn't March 14th too late for crab?
Might be.
I honestly have no idea. As I said, I'm not a crab eater, so I mean, I've done the event at the first weekend of March before, but I couldn't say. Glenn?
Could I say that if maybe for some reason, if this doesn't work out, we could just, because it is getting close to when we've got to book this. If this doesn't, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the other hands raised. Go ahead.
Okay, Glenn?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and I can't speak to detail on the proposed alternative dates, but I would recommend that we line up an alternate date just because I think we will have real attrition on who will show up for the event. And I certainly want to show up for the event. And so maybe we take that into consideration.
Right now, the proposal is for the 14th is the primary motion, because that's, at least my understanding is we believe it's still in crab feed season. But if anyone has a backup date they want to suggest. Bonnie?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have an alternative date, but I still believe the date is good. The other thing is, I think that March is too late.
Yeah.
It seemed to be last year.
Okay. Kathy?
Oh, I was just going to say, could we give discretion to the fundraising committee if this is not booked, that they could have discretion to go ahead and move ahead with 2,000 to book another venue if for some reason we can't get this. So we don't have to wait until January, which would be our next meeting.
Okay. Paula?
Yeah, I like Kathy's idea. Let's let the committee have discretion to pick another date. I mean, March is too late probably for crab, but there's no way we're gonna pull off a crab feed by January,
No.
starting from now. That is never gonna happen. So give the committee the discretion to do it. That would be my 2 cents.
All right, looks like we have approval. So does anyone object to that suggestion that if the Ullata Center is not available on February 14th, the fundraising committee will have the discretion to find an alternative date or venue? If you do, raise your hand. If not, we will just work with that operating assumption.
Oops,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
So we will go with that and see if we can make sure we find appropriate bottles of sparkling wine or California champagne or something to go along with our crab, for those of you who decide to do our crab feed. Kathy, is your hand still up?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Next item is the creation of the awards committee. We traditionally, every cycle, give awards to volunteers. That includes awards voted on by the Central Committee, as well as asking each club to name Democrat of the Year. The suggestion is to go ahead and combine events and do as we historically did, present the awards at our crab feed. So with that, I'd like to have a crab feed committee to review the nomination forms and put them out, and so that the committee, Senate committee, can come back and vote in January on our honorees. So can I get volunteers to serve on the awards committee?
Are you
Come on,
looking for
someone.
people to volunteer now? I'll volunteer.
Yes, I'm asking because I'm asking now
Well,
because
I
we have
will
no meeting before
volunteer.
January.
I will
Okay.
volunteer.
All right, Bonnie. Jeanette?
I just want to say that, so we won't have a meeting in November and a regular meeting in December. And then January, we will have a meeting. But so people will have to nominate and provide all the information in November, December. and then they need to get the information to the committee before January, so it can be voted on in January, so plaques can be made or whatever to recognize the people in February. So I just want that timeline out there that that has to happen for this to be
Yeah, we
combined.
will communicate. Yes, thank you. That was my intention, to communicate the details to the awards committee. But yes, we'll need to have those awards back and compile so that we can vote at the January meeting. Bonnie?
So I can serve on the committee as well for that.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say that I would almost, I don't, we did discuss it initially to have the both together. It seems like a lot, in my opinion. And, Jeanette, if you are willing to like serve on the awards aspect of it, I don't think I could take all of that on personally, but if other people want to do that, that's great. In my opinion, I would divide the question and really
Well, it is a
confirm that we
separate
want to do
question from
both.
the dinner itself.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking for the awards committee specifically. So that the people who are doing the awards committee don't feel obligated to work on the rest of the dinner and vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't
think
want to
that's-
saddle the fundraising committee with this task as well. So with that, we have one confirmed volunteer, because that sounded like Bonnie was withdrawing her name.
And then they ask for all the members, or you have to be looking at who you would nominate so that you can submit names so that can be voted on.
Yeah, and we typically ask for a balance between north and south, so we get some. Paula?
The more I think about what Bonnie just said, the more I tend to agree with her. I don't know that we want to take on an awards dinner right now, given that we're not going to meet again until basically January, when this would get voted on. And then there's only 2 weeks before the crab feed to get plaque. Let's not do this to ourselves. Let's move the awards dinner sometime down the line.
Well, we can certainly do that, and the membership will make that decision. I'm more than open to have the membership make the decision. Honestly, my concern is the lack of ability for us to pull off multiple large events in one year. We have shown that we're capable of usually one big event a year. So that was why, rather than having to resort to presenting the plaques at a central committee meeting or the ceremony in the quad of the government center, combining it with the event that we were already scheduling, but it's certainly the membership's prerogative. Kathy?
I agree with you. I think that it's a lot easier to get nominees and for there to be a decision made and then someone to get, the plaques done than to plan a whole nother dinner, which is to me a lot more work. And it provided information goes out to the clubs right away so that, this can be dealt with like in November membership meetings. And just put a deadline. We need your nominees by X date. And even if it doesn't go out to the club, maybe, the people who are most active can make the decisions about who to nominate. But I do agree that there should certainly be, if you're on the awards committee, no expectation that you're going to do anything for the crab feed.
Okay, Bonnie?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine if we were to do something in awards, we could do a more casual event like in the late spring where outside or something a little bit more casual. But that would be the way I would look at it, that it wouldn't be a big dinner again. That doesn't make any sense. So we would have a big crab feed, in February for Valentine's Day, and it could just be focused on that. And then we could have a more casual awards event later on. So I wouldn't see it as both. Again, if folks want to take on the awards, go for it.
Okay, I'm seeing Kathy's hand. Is that up again?
Yeah, it's up again. I was just thinking, if you weren't talking about a huge another dinner, if you could have like an awards happy hour or an awards cocktail party, something like that, and do it at somebody's home, because you wouldn't be getting the same big crowd. It would be more just, it would be a lot fewer people. So I guess I could sort of go either way, but I don't see a huge problem with doing it at the crab feed. You do get a lot more appreciation from a much bigger group of people.
And that historically has been the optimal approach, is that our volunteers are being honored by a big crowd. But again, open to whatever the membership wishes to do. So if there's a motion either way, I will entertain it. Or failing that, additional volunteers for the awards committee.
We only have one person who's volunteered to be on the awards committee.
I have Jeanette who's volunteered.
Can help, Jeanette.
Liliana?
Yeah, I can help with the awards committee.
Okay, Jeanette, you're
I'll volunteer too, Don.
And Mike
was just-
Silva in the chat is volunteering also.
Who else was it?
Mike Silva.
okay. And Jeanette?
I was just going to say that it is makes sense to do it at the same time, except that you know what the crab feeds are like. Everyone just wants to get their crab, and then so it's really hard to really honor anyone because people aren't listening and things like that. But if the will of the group is to do it all together, then we can certainly do it that way. The other thing is the casual thing would be fine as well. But if there are other people that are on the committee, we can meet. But if we're meeting to talk about doing it at the crab feed, then we can do it that way. But I'm not going to be at the crab feed. But so go ahead.
Monica also said she would be on it.
But remember, if you're on this, then you're not helping with the crab feed. So the other big piece of this is you've got to have a whole lot of volunteers that are willing to help at the crab feed before, during, and after.
I will correct that. You are not obligated to work on the crab feed as well as the award. If you are a glutton for punishment and want to do both, we will certainly accept that. Liliana, is your hand up again or still up?
No, I just need to lower it.
Okay. Jeannie? Okay. Bonnie?
I apologize for putting my hand up again. I want to say that maybe the first order of business for the awards committee could be to determine whether the awards would be at this dinner or not, or at a later date. Thank you.
And Pat also put in the chat that they can help with the awards group.
Okay. Let me just say this. I would rather the body make the choice. So, as to whether it's combined or not. So I'll entertain a motion either way, put it before the membership and we'll vote. Jeannie? You're muted.
So I've been listening really carefully to the conversation, and I've helped with the crab feed on several occasions. It's a huge effort. There are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of action. It's very loud. And I am kind of wondering if it might be possible to do the awards, like say at a summer gathering, get together. Doesn't even have to be a fundraiser, but maybe just a way to get everybody together and make it a more intimate and more personal event, so that it would be the central committee people that were there that would be honored, rather than at a big crab feed where there's likely to be a lot of people that maybe don't know anything about the Central Committee, maybe don't know a lot of the people that are in the Central Committee. I would actually kind of lean toward doing it at a separate time.
And I second
I
her
would,
motion.
well, okay, we have a second motion. I will say the caveat, of course, is that, as we say every year, is that these are not intended to be a self-congratulatory giving awards only to Central Committee members, but to honor all of our volunteers who do the work, but are not necessarily Central Committee members or club officers. And I think each of us from our clubs can know those people actually step up and do the work and are walking and phoning and doing newsletters and doing other hard work like that. So, Jeanette.
So that's the exact reason why we extended it to having the clubs nominate someone as well. So if we continue that practice, then it's not just a Central Committee event. And if we just do the Central Committee, then I would say we wouldn't extend it to the clubs because it's one way or the other. The same thing with at the Crab Feed or Beyond.
I think we have construed the discussion offered by Jeannie and Bonnie to hold a separate event in the summer. So if we can prepare for that effect, understanding that the implement is if you vote for the separate event, you're actually voting to hold a separate event. And so we will have people be stepping up to help organize that event, whatever it may turn into in, say, late spring or early summer.
And may I offer I hope a friendly amendment to say that we would include the clubs in the awards.
Well, they are already included.
Yeah. Very good.
Under our current procedures. So with that said, do we have a poll ready? This is the motion to approve.
I'm not sure about the language. Are we just
the
approving?
Motion is to hold a separate awards event.
Okay.
Is how I'm construing the discussion.
So now if this passes, so all the people who signed up for the awards committee now have to jump back in and help at the crab feed committee.
Well, I'm not going to do that to them, but they do have a longer.
Oh no, I think they have to.
That was implicit in the motion.
Hey, I'm not that cruel. We expect you all to be fully volunteers for all events all the time. Well, it looks like
it may have been why so many people volunteered.
I have a suggestion.
Okay, hold
Can
the
you see Vanessa's hand up?
I do, but we have the poll going. So, are we good to end the poll? It looks like it has passed, so we will be doing a separate event. Vanessa.
Yeah, what if we had something small but still nice, like a wine and cheese? Those are very easy, like, like a charcuterie, some bubbly. It doesn't have to be expensive, but that takes away from having to provide food, or like a summer, we could call it like a summer soiree, but it's not really anything fancy, but just like somebody lifted up a summer casual event that just has a little bit of intimate gathering, but still fun and, lightly decorated, but not cost a lot. And those are fun too. If we word it a certain way, then people don't expect like a heavy sit down dinner, but it's like a little bit more than a meet and greet, but it's still some time to connect with others, meet people, and celebrate.
I think we will, we've had a lot of good, I think we will probably circle back after the first visit and in more detail. I would just say personally, my bias is that I would like to have an event where a lot of people are encouraged to come and honor our volunteers. So whatever that looks like, something other than being held on somebody's back patio, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you live in a small place like I do. So that said, we have agreed to do that, so we will handle that. And I know we are getting well into our second hour, but the last item of business is yes on Proposition 50 update. Last month we ordered the big highway signs, and I want to thank Bonnie and Kathy and everyone else, and Karen and everyone else who worked to put out the signs and put them up. I did see your reports that, as expected, our friends across the aisle didn't always take kindly to seeing the signs up, and they disappeared quickly. I wish we knew who they were so that we could bill them for those costs of those signs, but that's not the way that the world works, unfortunately. But I do want to thank all of you who did that. There have been walks, there have been phoning going on. There have been plenty of fun and games with the PDI mobile app, but that's probably a conversation to be held this weekend with the state party. And I see Glenn has dropped a link in for Yes on 50 walks. These are the Labor Council walks, correct, Glenn?
Yes, but just chime in really quick and thank you, Don, for all of the coordination as well as some of the Dem activists who've been out there. These are walks, of course, going to the same, general likely targeted voter population as what the Democratic Party is targeting across the state in coordination with the labor movement. And so we've been getting union members out actually every weekend since September 7th, and a huge thank you to all of the local union affiliates who've been turning their members out there. And we're about to upload our GOTV schedule into that link. So even if you just want to go in there and indicate your interests in future walks, go ahead and go to the link in the chat. But we should be updating within the next day for our GOTV events. And so please do come out. We will have all the infrastructure in place to be canvassing, and we're excited to work through the next 2 weeks and get this over the finish line and get a win.
Yeah. And I want to thank everyone who clubs and the Central Committee who have walks as well. I know there have been a number of walks organized in North County, in Vallejo, in Benicia, and elsewhere. As part of the process, I know there are also people who have figured out how to use the PDI on the go and are doing walks on their own time, and I appreciate that as well. I will say that if people are in need of more literature, I do have a couple of boxes available, and you can make arrangements to meet with me tomorrow to pick them up. As I've said, I'm headed to Monterey Friday, so won't be available this weekend, but I will make those available to those who want to connect tomorrow. Kathy.
I just wanted to ask Glenn. Glenn, are you guys all using the PDI app too? And if we got a minute to talk about it, what's your experience been?
Yeah. We've been using it, same system. Obviously, it's that updated version of the app that was released. Once one is in the system, all of our volunteers' experiences with it have been pretty good. It's just kind of getting through the hurdles, at least from what we've seen, of knowing that's a different app and then just eventually finding your way into your turf and then kind of the normal recording process from there.
Okay, good.
Bonnie.
Yeah, I just wanted to make another comment on the signs that Kathy and I and a number of donors bought another 100 yard signs, which are all up and gone. A lot of them we put up are definitely gone. And a Northern Dem club member, JD Lopez, I've got to give him a big shout out because he put up most of the, at least Fairfield Sassoon, big road signs. He was like on a mission. So he did a great job with that. And he just purchased another 50 of the yard signs to replace the ones stolen or vandalized by these criminals out on the street, taking other people's property. Anyway, so we're going to put, and then I'm going to pitch in another 10 for another 10. So we're going to put them back, and well, we're just going to kind of keep putting them up, even if they want to come and take them down. We're going to put something really sticky and smelly on them. So when they steal them, or something, I glow in the dark.
Mice
maybe.
traps.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put those put those sticky rat traps.
That's a great idea, Kathy. Thank you.
So lots of things going on in these last 12 days. So again, I want to encourage everyone, sign up to do the phone banks through the party and on Mobilize. Join one of these walks that are scheduled if you can. If you want to walk on your own time, we can certainly arrange to get you literature. If you prefer to text bank, that option is available for you as well. And thanks to all of you who have already done what you have. I want to say that. I can't say that often enough. Gian.
Yes, I was walking over by Business Center Drive, and you know where the Scully office is, and I noticed that the sign had been either, maybe there was a strong wind, but it was knocked down, and so I put it back up. So I just ask people to just be mindful if you see that the signs have fallen. But I also have a suggestion. I know this is like really minor, that our sign be moved over to if you're headed towards say Costco's, that it be moved over to the left, because it's much more visible when you're driving. So I started to do that, but I wasn't sure if that was appropriate for me to do, since I picked it up and stuck it back where it seemed to have come from.
I will note that there's always that caution of if the signs are on private property, we have to be cognizant of who owns the property and that it's up.
No, it wasn't private property.
But if it's public property, your only caution is, don't pierce irrigation lines or other things that the city has there. I know that Fairfield ran into that a few campaign cycles ago, where people were eagerly putting along. Ended up, the landscaping districts had to replace several, I think they said it amounted to a couple miles worth of sprinkler line because of all the holes in them. So
yeah. It was literally next to a no sign. It was literally next to a no sign.
Well, that's assuming that the no signs are posted properly.
Yes.
No comment on that. Kathy.
I just wanted to, I've been doing some phone banking as well as setting up the canvases here, but this is the best phone bank I've ever done, because we're calling people who are positive, who have already indicated support, and it's just get out the vote. So if you normally like hate phone banks, I'd say try these, because they're really good.
Anybody else who has any comments on the Yes on 50 campaign efforts? Checking, I'm not seeing anyone's sign. There is one thing I had almost forgotten to bring up earlier. The clubs should have received today an email from the state party with the process and the access to the link for your delegates or your club representatives for the pre-endorsement conferences. And I'm pleased to report 6 of our clubs in Solano County received at least one club representative this cycle. Community Democratic Club was allocated 4. Northern Solano Club was allocated 5. Progressive Democrats of Benicia 4. Rio Vista Democratic Club 3. Solano Democratic Workers Alliance 1. And the United Democrats of Southern Solano 2. And the email tells you the process for naming your club representatives, and I believe December 3rd. I don't have the email up in front of me, so you essentially have your November meeting to select your preferred club representatives and enter them into the portal and do that. Remember, of course, that all people who are either Central Committee members, voting Central Committee members, are already a delegate to the state convention. They have separate voting rights, so you want to pick new, members, additional members for your club representatives. The pre-endorsement conference for clubs for this cycle, which will include the club reps, is scheduled for January 17th. And under the latest iteration of the party's procedures, the meetings will all begin at 11. And there will be a mandatory in-person components, at least for the candidates. And the ballots will all be electronic. They'll be emailed out at noon, and delegates will have 1 week to vote. So, as the party likes to do, they've changed the process again this cycle. So, that said, barring any surprises, Solano should have all incumbents running for re-election. So there may not even be a process for the AD11 area, but I would encourage each club to go ahead and pick the representatives just in case something happens, and to make sure that you are fully represented for the process if it occurs. Michelle.
Yeah, Don, is that stuff written down someplace? Because I know I just always have to read it a couple of times to get it through my head.
The emails went out to each club today from the state party.
Oh.
So whoever the club liaison is that the party has, and it's either your club president or the Central Committee rep, should have gotten that email today. And then the list of the allocation is found on the state party website. You'll drill down through the endorsements tab to find that information. And I haven't looked lately, but I'm hopeful that they have put on there the current explanation for the process in somewhat easy to understand language, as opposed to the language that's in the bylaws itself.
Great, thank you.
So I just wanted to make sure you were all aware of that and to be looking for that, or encourage your club reps to be looking for that so that you could select your delegates. Moving on, does anyone have any announcements they wish to make?
I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
Just a reminder that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that I started the breast cancer support group at Travis Air Force Base. But I want to remind our brothers also that men can also have breast cancer. And if you see any kind of discharge from your nipples, or any kind of hardening, or any kind of lump, that you should be mindful of having yourself checked out. And we just want to support all of our bosom buddy warriors who are surviving breast cancer, myself included. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any announcements? I will share, for those of you who are not members of the Northern Club or were not at our Northern Club meeting, Congressman Garamendi did say that he's running for re-election in 26 and in 28. He's already made that decision. So take that for what it's worth. And then I do want to encourage all of you, if you are able to contribute to your local food bank, food pantry, and other charitable organizations as the shutdown continues, SNAP recipients will not be, if things continue, they will not be receiving their benefits in November, and they will be hard pressed. So please consider supporting your food bank and other charitable groups to help them in this time of need, because our friends across the aisle don't want to open the government for whatever reason. Bonnie.
Well, I just want to mention also, I don't know what the status is of people running against. I've heard that someone is running against Mike Thompson, who is, I believe, a tech billionaire. I also heard that there was someone looking at Garamendi's seat. We just have to be really vigilant and start looking already to, who is running and who's backing them, whose money is backing them.
Yeah, the gentleman running against Congressman Thompson is a venture capitalist out of San Francisco who has put quite a bit of his own money in and to the race. And from what's been reported, most of his contributions are from outside the district and even outside the state. So, take that for what you will. All right. Unless anyone has any other announcements, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn. It's Michelle.
Okay. Is there a second, or perhaps I should ask, is there an objection to the motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, you can carry on meeting amongst yourselves. I will say that I hope to see you all at whatever our holiday event is. In the meantime, stay safe and don't forget to vote.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.